Hey, good evening, everybody, man. I want to welcome you guys back to the Conversation 9-8. And man, I'm happy to be back before you guys again today and looking forward to the conversation, looking forward to the night. Just as usual, man. I am so excited, so happy, so ecstatic to be back before you guys again for another week, another episode. And I hope this meets you guys well. I hope everybody's having a good week. I hope things are going well. And again, man, I hope things are good. We all people go through stuff and people deal with things, and that's what it is. But I just wanted to just say, hey, I hope everybody's doing well. I'm excited about today's episode. Was off last week, and this year I said, I'm gonna take some time to deal with me, take some time to prioritize me, and that's what I'm looking forward to. And that's what I did last week. But I'm back again, back before you guys right now. Truly excited and looking forward for the conversation tonight. Again, this is an interactive show, so make sure you comment. Make sure you let me know where you tuning in from, and we'll get right on into it. Because there's no need to even hold this on. But tonight episode we're going to talk about, and it's a good episode. But tonight episode we're going to talk about stop trying to make other people responsible for your refusal to address your issues. And so many of us, what happens is, and I think we subconsciously, many of us, what we do is we, in our attempt to avoid facing our issues or avoid addressing our issues, avoid standing up to what our issues are, or even identifying our issues, we make life hard for those that are close to us, especially those that are loved ones for us, because we refuse to address it. And we try to make other people responsible for it because we expect them to cater towards all of those same reasons. And a lot of times we try to make them responsible like they were the cause of it. And many times people aren't the cause of it. The people that end up bearing the blunt of the issues that you have, a lot of those had nothing to even do with it happening to you. But we try to make them responsible for it. We try to make them responsible for it. And that, I don't know why we do that. We shouldn't do that. That's not a good thing to do, because the people had nothing to do with it. They had nothing to do with whatever the issue may have been. And that's that. And I'm speaking on that from personal all the way through. I'm speaking on that because so many of us, we like to try to make other people responsible for issues that they ain't had nothing to do with. For real. And one thing about it we have to look at is, one thing we need to look at, many of us, we need to take time to identify what our issue is. Like, seriously, identify what our issue is. A lot of us, we deal with things and we try to do our best to suppress things and get through it. And many of us deal with issues or things from decisions and choices. We had to make that was the best decision at that moment. And I understand that. But just because it was the best decision at that moment, that doesn't mean it didn't have an impact on you and on others. So why do we try to act like, well, I did the best, and try to convince ourselves, yeah, that was the best decision, but you still got underlying issues that because you are afraid to address and deal with, other people around you have to deal with it. And you find yourself in mood swings. Other people always, you moody. You start to be ornery, and you start lashing out at people for your issues, and they didn't have anything to do with it. Because the reality is those are your issues and you're responsible for addressing it. You are responsible for addressing it. Hey, Ms. Jones, how you doing? Thank you. Yeah, I think this is a real good topic that we need to address and really identify and deal with. And the reason why we need to address, identify, and deal with, because I think this topic this impacts everybody, and it has the potential to impact everybody. And one of the it's so important to get to a space to where we start addressing and dealing with getting to the root cause of who we are or what ticks us. And I can remember I got to a space where I said, God, why am I the way I am? And God began to break down some things that I was not so much oblivious to, but I had suppressed and wasn't even addressing and dealing with. So I had to go back and start dealing with some things from my childhood, some things that was dealing with me that was affecting my why, or affecting how I was operating. And I didn't really understand it to that point until I started addressing it. And then I was able to realize how that was really impacting me, and how it impacted me on a level to the point to where I had to acknowledge that, hey, this is why I was doing, or this is why I was the way that I were, before I can start to address and deal with myself, honestly. And getting to that space was a blessing, because it allowed me to get to the root cause or the foundation of what my issues are. Now, we can talk about this, and I know a lot of people may really be up against this, but when I'm talking about you, stop trying to make other people responsible for you addressing your issues. I'm not trying to suggest that everything is always a bad thing, or it's traumatic, or this, that, and the third. A lot of the things I'm talking about is stuff that we suppress and we don't even address. You know, a lot of us, we just try to act like, hey, I'm good, and we get through it. But some things we need to address. You know, some of us, we're harboring issues. We're harboring things. And when we harbor things and they never go addressed, what we subconsciously do, try to convince ourselves that it doesn't bother us, is it not bothering us. But it's very evident to everybody else around you that it's bothering you, because you get so moody, you switch up all the time. And then other people be like, bro, you need to address that. But then it get to the point where you never want to address it, and you start getting hostile, or you start getting very defensive or defiant against those who try to hold you accountable, for you can start addressing it and dealing with yourself so you can get better. My mama said, the best you can do is enough when it is the best you can do. If it was not the best you could do at the time of the decision, this usually causes regret. However, we must learn to accept and come to forgiveness to ourselves for not doing our best. That is so true. And Mama, you brought up a real good point, and I want to expound on that. And Aunt said it too, but sometimes the decision that we make can end up impacting us, even though it was the best choice that we had at that moment. And what we had to realize is, even if that was the best choice, that still doesn't take away from having to deal with the consequences of that choice. And those consequences can be, you know, they can impact just say if it involves two people or multiple people, it can impact each one of those individuals differently. So we have to get to a space to where we're able to address that and realize why is that affecting me this way? And a lot of times we don't get to the why. We just say, I know it's messing with me and I don't want to address it. And yeah, it may upset you about it. That's why you avoid it, but you continue to avoid it. It's upsetting you, but it's causing hardship for those people connected to you. And it's not their responsibility. That's yours. It's not. And that is so true. My mom said all decisions have consequences. And Aunt said, can't address it because it pisses me off. Yes, I can understand it, and I'm not acknowledging that. I do acknowledge that. I'm not dismissive of that, but I am talking about the reality that it is necessary. You know, some people don't realize it, but it is true. Many of us don't even realize our refusal to address our issues impact our future relationships or impact our current relationships. You know, a lot of us, we struggle with being a spouse because we haven't dealt with the issues of our childhood, from maybe a neglect from a parent not being there. So we tell ourselves, hey, I'm good. It doesn't bother me. But then it manifests itself in how you interact with your spouse. So you, in a lot of subconsciously, you hold your spouse accountable for a parent that wasn't there, or what the parent didn't do, or the issues that the parent caused, or whatever, you know, or whatever the other situation may be. And we don't realize that it manifests itself in our future relationship. The issues that you had with your parent probably manifests itself in how you interact and you be a parent. And our kids have to deal with that. Our spouses have to deal with that. A lot of our coworkers, people have to deal with the fact that you are unwilling to address your issues. And they are your issues. Theirs not theirs. It's yours. And we have to do that. And my mama said, we do have the responsibility to heal. And that is so true. I'm gonna say it again. We do have the responsibility to heal. And Mama said it impact others, especially when we try to try to hide and fail to address it. Yes, and that's one of the biggest things, you know, that a lot of people mess up. But just because you feel like you're suppressing it and suppressing an issue, that a wound or a hurt, just because you feel like you're suppressing it and you're getting over and you're surviving, right? Because you go into survival mode, just because you feel like you're suppressing it, that doesn't mean that it's not going to impact others. Because your suppression of it, it manifests itself in other ways, especially to those closest connected to you. They're the ones that got to deal with you. They're the ones that got to deal with you being moody. They're the ones that got to deal with you always up and down. You never stable. They're the ones that you got that you want them to cater to or not be a certain way because you want them to manage your triggers. They're not responsible for managing your triggers. They're not responsible for that. You are responsible for your healing. You are responsible for it. You may not have caused the hurt, but you are definitely responsible for the healing. And many times we try to make other people, especially those closer to us, responsible for it. And that's not their responsibility. It's not. So I don't know why we continue to try to do that, because it really hurts a lot of people. Ed said, a lot of people don't want to face their demons and be like Captain Kirk said, I don't want my pain taken away. I need my pain. I don't want my pain taken away. I need my pain. Man, that's so true. Because, you know, the problem that a lot of people have is the problem many people have with addressing their issues is because their issues have begin to identify by their issues. And many of them begin to thrive, or that become the source or the fuel of their existence, their identity. Oh, yeah, I've been hurt. So, yeah, that's just me being hurt. Woe is me. And they walk around life wanting everybody to care about that. That's not my issue. That's your issue. That is not my issue. And especially when you got people, a lot of times you have people that were willing to help you, but we try to make them responsible. You know, like it's almost like you want somebody, you sign a lease or you sign a contract that say you supposed to pay for it, but it's like you want somebody else to pay the cost for it and they ain't on the contract. Your name on the contract. You're responsible. If somebody chooses to give you some money on it, that's their choice of helping you, but they're not the one responsible. You are responsible. You are responsible for your healing. You are. And it doesn't matter. You try to identify by it and you try to, you know, have a woe is me and everybody. No, that's on you. 100% on you. And it's so necessary for us to realize that and realize the fact that when we try to make people responsible for our issues, you know, we don't realize the impact that we have. And one thing about it is when we try to make people responsible for our issues, what we don't realize is we end up isolating ourselves and we end up making ourselves to the point to where nobody want to be around you. No, you isolate yourself and nobody will want to be around you. And I've seen it happen with a lot of parents and their kids, and they try to make their kids or everybody close around them responsible for catering to or harbor or managing their issues, to where as the kids grow up, they don't want to come back. They don't want to be around you. Your spouse end up leaving you because you ain't dealing with your issues, and you try to make your issues everybody else's issues. And then you like everything always triggers you. Everything always bothers you. Everything always, and you don't even realize it. A lot of people don't even realize how their issues end up becoming the center of their destruction, the center of gravity of the destruction of their own lives, because everything becomes about them and they can't see outside of it. They can't see outside of that. And many of them struggle outside of it. They really struggle, and it becomes almost like a self-sabotage, and they end up self-sabotaging. And the thing about it is, one thing about it, and I want people to understand this, is many people that refuse to address their issues, they are very passionate about helping other people with their issues. And the reason why they're passionate about it is them pointing to other people, give them a false sense of accomplishment because they are too afraid to address and deal with the reality of them. And what they try to do is they try to tell themselves that, oh, well, I was justified in my decision. It was the best decision. Yeah, it was the best decision in that moment, but you're still not addressing and dealing with the fact that it bothers you. It bothers you at the root. It really bothers you. So they go into overdrive to do things for other people, but they use it as an excuse not to address themselves. And when you have people that are around them that force them to address themselves, now they treat them as if they're the problem. Now, what you also will find is those same people always want to be in control. They always want to control everything. And they struggle with anxiety because that feeling of control gives them a false sense of security. It gives them a false sense of security. That's why it's so important that you address it and you deal with yourself. You address your issues. You know, the reason why, and the other thing is I want people to understand, and I think people, a lot of people really miss this. They really miss this, but the reason why it's so important for you to address the issues that you have, you address your issues, is because 9 times out of 10, you the root cause of it. Yes, somebody may have done something to you, but how you choose to address it and deal with it is 100% up to you. And yes, you can sit around and you can want other people to come in. And the thing about it is, even if you have reconciliation with the other people and they can come through and they apologize and they take full ownership, you still have to do, you still are responsible and you still have to do the work to address whatever issues that you have. And a lot of people don't think about that, but you still have to do that work. You the one still got to put that work in to address those issues. You the one that still got to put that work in to deal with yourself. You the one that got to put the work in so that you can heal and you can overcome that. But instead of we want other people to always, and a lot of times we feel like we have people, we want people to deal with it, but that's unrealistic. That's unrealistic. What's going on, Valencia? How you doing? And Ant said a lot of people don't know how to deal with their demons. And yeah, and I'm gonna address it. I'm glad you brought that up. Just because you don't know how to deal with your issues or deal with your demons or deal with the things of your past, that still doesn't resolve you from your responsibility of dealing with it. So just because you don't know how to deal with it, it's just like any other thing. If you don't know about something, there's resources available so you can educate and find it. You know, the thing about it, what I've known is, you know, when what God has always done for me, when I have truly had a desire to do something, God always opened the door. He always did something. And now with everything, God would lead you. He will lead you to something that it speaks towards you. It'll speak to your situation. It may be a song. It may be a book. It may be a movie. It may be something to help you digest that and start to address it. But you have to have the courage to and the intestinal fortitude to say, hey, look, I need to do the work. I need to address myself and stop running from it and deal with it, because that is where you will find your breakthrough. That right there is where you will find your breakthrough, period. And I promise you, you will. And I just want people to really understand the importance of stop trying to make other people responsible, because nobody else is responsible. Nobody. I mean, nobody else is responsible for you addressing your issues. Nobody. Other people can commit to assisting you. Other people can commit to be there with you, to walk that thing with you, but nobody is responsible. Nobody. And when you start talking about our own issues, man, I want people to understand that, like, even though, like, there's some things that I can go to the hospital for and have surgery on, but my healing, my body has to heal. My body, I have to do the rehab. I got to do the work to, like, those are things I have to do. I have to change probably my eating habits. I have to do, there's some responsibility that I have. Even though I get external help, that's still the responsibility that lies on me so that I can heal, that I can address myself, so that I can address my issues. And the same thing, that's what we have to do. We have to be willing to do that work to address our issues, because many of us aren't, and we try to make it other people's responsibility and then want to blame them when we're not here, when it's your fault that you ain't do the work. It's your fault. I don't care how you slice it, it is your fault, because many times that's what we do. And I wanted to talk about this because this is one thing I've been wanting to talk about for a while. And I would tell you, you know, you can have the best interest in the world, but stop trying to make those who are literally there in your life that you benefit from, that you're receiving some type of help from, stop trying to take out your frustration on them or try to hold them responsible for your unwillingness to address and deal with your issues. The issues that you are running from, the issues that you have suppressed for years, those are a result of your choices. Those are consequences of your choices. Regardless of the situation in which you face, they are consequences of your choices and your decisions. So why are we trying to make other people responsible for that? It is you. It is solely you that you have to make the decision that you're going to work towards dealing with it. And when you start to take that ownership of it, you'll realize God has strategically placed those people in your life to help you walk and overcome it. But because we refuse, we try to make them responsible for it. No, and they are not responsible for it. Not at all. And I want us to really understand that and walk in that. And once we really understand it and walk in that, a lot of our breakthrough and a life will be so different. Life will be so different. Love you too, Aunt. Love you too. But life will be so different when we start to address and deal with a lot of the issues and things that we cause. And man, I just want to say, man, I really thank you guys so much for rocking with me. Looking forward to continued conversations. And yeah, my mama said it. Other people aren't responsible for our healing. Other people aren't responsible for our healing. And that is a powerful statement. And I will say it again. I will definitely say it again. Other people aren't responsible for our healing. Other people can assist us on our healing journey, but other people aren't responsible for our healing. So we have to stop trying to make people responsible for our healing, for our issues. Because many of our issues, we made the decisions. And the funny thing was, we were bold in the decisions that we made. We were bold in the decision that we made that put us in those positions, that we made those, even when it was the best decision in that moment, we still made the choices and to put us in those situations. So from those situations, we got to deal with the accountability of us dealing with that, or us making those decisions to put ourselves in that situation. And then now we can start to address how that really impacted us. And then while we're addressing how that impacted us, that's when we can heal relationships, men relationships, and that's when we can grow and move forward as people. That's when we really can do that. So I tell you, man, my prayer, man, is to everybody that this was good, man. Make sure you go and you support on social media platforms. You see, we got the Conversation 98 on YouTube. I'm on YouTube. The Conversation 98 on here on Facebook. The Conversation _98 on TikTok. And my prayer is that this was helpful. And man, I hope everybody have a blessed and wonderful week. You guys have a blessed week. Talk to you later. God bless.